Been to.
Sick on Thursday? Okay. Oh, no.
No,
It's good.
Doctor talk about sick on. No.
Flip this up.
All right, we're back. Remember, if you have any questions or comments about anything dealing with business, finances, money, or taxes, or if you just want to discuss issues affecting our community, give me a call at 601-948-5950. If you don't want to be live on the air today, just let our phone screener and producers, Jessica Vaughn and Saskia Smith, know, and they'll get your question or comment forwarded to me, and I'll read it and respond without you having to be live on the air today. Again, that phone number for you to call is 601-948-5950. You can also send your questions or comments through our website. Go to www.tclfinancialtaxservices.com and click on the link, the TCL Show. All right, prior to the break, I just introduced and read a biography for our guest, and again, it's Dr. Michael Bookhardt. And he's a family medicine physician, and he is the founder of Good Faith Wellness Center. He's also a so many different accolades. I'm gonna let him, because I just read this biography, and again, it's very, very impressive, and we're gonna dive into that. So let me, Dr. Bookhardt, tell the listening audience. I know you was on the show a few weeks ago, but tell the listeners a little bit about yourself and things I didn't say. I know I said a lot, but I'm sure there's plenty more that you would want them to know about you.
Well, man, first of all, Tim, thanks for having me on again. It's a pleasure to be here with you on the TCL Show. I'm going to just start off, man, by saying I heard the shade on the way over here to let y'all know he would have given me an hour. But the last time when I was here on time, Tim, then I only had 20 minutes. So I just want to put that out there, that this is, this is not the usual. So,
It's not the usual.
But we heard the shade, brother.
Yeah.
But thanks again for having me on. And, man, yeah, you read the bio, like I do on my show on Telehealth Tuesday. I read these extensive bios. I'm like, man, is this the same person? And they say, man, Doc, you brought me out. So, man, I appreciate you bringing me out with such a warm greeting. But, so I'm Dr. Michael Bookhardt again. Glad to be here. And we are, a passion of mine is men's health. And that's been such a big thing. Well, you wanted me to talk about the 50 under 50? You wanted me to start with that?
Before we dive into that,
Okay.
because I just talked about it, and you were just recognized at the last Saturday in January, the 50 under 50. Tell them about that, and I assume that you were nominated by someone.
That's right. They have a nominations process. They have a committee. I think it's about 6 to 8 individuals on the committee, and they nominate 50 individuals here. Not just in Jackson, but in kind of in the area, kind of in this part of Mississippi, not necessarily the entire state, but several cities. And 50 under 50 people who they feel are doing things in the community, and I guess what they may consider as trailblazers or trendsetters, and just people who are being more active in the community. So shout out to the 50 under 50, to the brand, and to Dr. Crystal Logan. And man, it was quite an interesting experience. They gave us some plaques afterwards, and I don't know the chef's name, but he had some delicious cuisine there, and it was a great event for networking. So pleasure to be nominated for that.
Great. Congratulations on that. Again, that's an honor. 50 under 50 people out of I know you said not the whole state, but even if you just say Jackson, to be recognized out of 50 people, to be one of the 50 people, just an honor. But I know it's included more than just Jackson.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you have the Good Faith Wellness Center.
That's right.
Talk about that.
Good Faith Wellness Center. So, we're a multidisciplinary clinic. Although it's somewhat branded as primary care, it's two MDs, myself and Dr. Torrance Green, and then also Dr. Sophronia Stidwell, who's a board-certified chiropractor. And so she focuses on chronic pain management, nutritional counseling, and we all believe as a collective that instead of just having people on things like narcotics such as Percocet, Norco, all that kind of stuff, we want to help because those are things that are just going to be for short term. We want to help you with your long-term wellness. And so a lot of things start with managing your diabetes, controlling weight, which is a huge thing. And so you can imagine, I know they can't see us on here. I'm on Facebook Live, but you can imagine if you've got two support structures here, right? And if I push down harder on this one, and that rather than this hand with nothing on it, then this other hand where I'm pushing down really hard, you can imagine that this one, the left one, is going to crumble first. And you can imagine that's the strain put on your back and knees from being overweight or obese. And so one of the challenges with chronic pain management, a lot of people, especially in the South, unfortunately, because of diet and hereditary and other reasons, are obese. And so that's one of the things. So to try to keep people from taking Goody and BC powder and Tylenol and Percocet and all that, sometimes it's just as simple as trying to change somebody's weight by talking about nutritional counseling, helping them with meal planning, meal prep, and things like that. So that's just one of the many, one of the small aspects of Good Faith Wellness Center, where we feel like that's our niche and we differ from other institutions and practices because we want to take a deep dive instead of just placing Band-Aids on people's conditions.
Great. So it sounds like what you're saying is that if we can, tackle the issue of obesity, it's almost like a domino effect when it comes to other illnesses.
Absolutely.
Okay, sounds great.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about your Telehealth Tuesday. I mentioned that in the bio that you do that every Tuesday on. I did give out your Facebook social media platform, but what platforms is it on? And tell us what Telehealth Tuesday is about.
Telehealth Tuesday can be viewed mainly. I really want to push Dr. B TV, DOCTOR, the letter B as in boy, TV. That's our YouTube channel. We're almost up to 1,000 subscribers. I think they start doing some other things and monetizing and all that on YouTube with that number. And so that's such a blessing because it's hard to get folks to follow you and subscribe on YouTube. So I want to let everybody know that's going to be our focus, Dr. B TV. Also on Mike Bookhardt, I heard it's MIKE Bookhardt, which is more of a personal page. Also LinkedIn, Dr. Michael Bookhardt, and also Instagram. With that one is Heart of Music, HARDT of Music. So it's simultaneously broadcast to those 4 platforms. And then there's going to be other updates to the Good Faith Wellness Center pages on Facebook and Instagram. And Telehealth Tuesday, started off, we had, the first 2 episodes, we took a different direction, Tim. And, but we, at first we started off in one area, and it was kind of a dual kind of deal, co-hosted, and we would bring different guests on. And then, immediately we thought about it and wanted to go a little bit different direction. And I was mainly bringing on other doctors and pharmacists and healthcare professionals, but then I had some feedback and folks were like, well, what about other aspects of health and wellness? Not just doctors and pharmacists, because, people get kind of hit over the head with that all the time. But what about lawyers and chefs, weight loss experts, fitness instructors, dietitians, politicians, celebrities. We've had also everything that we do, no matter. Sometimes people look at it like, well, what's that person going to talk about? But we always find a way to tie it back into health. And so Telehealth Tuesday is just all about the different things that we can do to improve our health overall. And even comedians, because we know that laughter is a medicine. So you got to check it out for yourself.
Great. It's
Check it out.
ironic that you said that about tying it all together, because even though my radio show pretty much focuses on business, finances, money, and taxes,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the number one cause of stress is financial problems. And hey,
Mm-hmm.
and when you deal with stress, hey, you got medical issues going on. So
right.
it kind of ties in together as well. Now, you mentioned your Instagram page and also in your bio
Mm-hmm.
about you being a musician. Hey, tell us about that.
Man, I don't get a chance to do it as often as I want, but I have one of my keyboards up here, man. And so I used to have a band back home in Orlando, Florida, and we would do weddings and, different political events and things like that. And we got a chance to do some pretty big things with the Honorable Condoleezza Rice when she was there with the Links organization, and Congressman James Clyburn. So some of the heavy hitters in politics, and we got a chance to entertain them. So, but yeah, I feel like that's one of the things to entertain. Like, some people only use one side of the brain. I like to use both. Like, there's the objective, literal side, the doctor part, and then there's like the musical entertainment or that. I just like to kind of what, gives us, I wouldn't say maybe somewhat of an edge or a different outlook on things when approaching patients, because we can understand people from different standpoints rather than only looking at it one way or being judgmental or things like that.
Great. It's kind of ironic that you said that as well. And I know you are, and I am too, but we love live music. I love to watch musicians perform. I love just the art of it, just artists. And there's two professions that I admire. I just admire them. I admire their work ethic, mainly their work ethic. One is athletes, and two is musicians. Yeah. You just have to admire. This is my opinion, but those are two professions that I highly, highly admire their work ethic. All right, so let's dive into, because we had a very exciting conversations when you was on the show a few weeks ago, and I kind of want to piggyback off of that. And a lot of it we talked about preventive care.
That's right.
And those are so very, very important. And one thing that you said when you was on the show last, that it's a couple of things that no one should die from. Give us those diagnoses again.
Three things. There's three forms of cancer, and then one of them is a chronic medical condition. The one chronic medical condition, which I had never seen anybody die from, kind of routine asthma, and that wasn't until I moved to Jackson, Mississippi. So asthma is one of them. Obviously, if that's controlled, you have your inhalers, nebulizer treatments, and all that, and avoiding triggers and things like pollen, dust, cigarette smoke, strong perfumes. But the three things, in terms of cancer, colon cancer, prostate cancer, and breast cancer. And honestly, even just the gentleman came from Terminix to do pest control treatment at my house this morning. And this guy said, man, his, I don't know if it's his aunt or his cousin, he said, man, we had to bury them they were in their early 50s, and we had to bury her this week. She had breast cancer. And I said, come on. That was this morning, this guy told me. And in the United States of America, now, not to be political, but of course, we did have someone in office where everyone in the country would have been covered, but nevertheless, everybody doesn't have health care insurance. And so that is why you got to come to Good Faith Wellness Center, because if you don't have health insurance, that's no excuse. $99 a month, which is less than your own cell phone. You can have unlimited visits to Good Faith Wellness Center. But if you are fortunate enough to have insurance, which everyone should have in the country, but either way, like I said, even if you don't, going to a thorough primary care provider, you're supposed to have, for women, have an annual mammogram. You can go into other stuff, pap smears and all that. But when we're talking about those three cancers, you have your mammogram, annual mammogram, you have your colonoscopy, usually every 10 years. Certain people it's every 5, and then other people it's every 1 to 3, depending on if you have polyps and all that. And then prostate, and that's the other thing, Tim, to really look, we need to make sure right here on TCL that we let everybody know nobody is supposed to be doing a digital rectal exam on a man routinely for prostate. So we have got to stop the myth. I said it on WJTV last week when I was working in the hospital. I was on WJTV News, and they say, Dr. Bookhardt, so what do you want the men to know? Nobody is putting a lubricated finger in your rectum anymore annually. That is not happening. And if it's happening with your primary doctor, you need to leave and come to Good Faith Wellness Center. So nobody's doing that. When you get to be 45, 50, depending on, your risk factors and all that, when it's time to have prostate, all you got to do, Tim, is simply when you draw the A1C, lipid panels and all your routine, you just draw a PSA level in the blood. In the blood. This is painless, except the pain of the needle going in. But you're just drawing, it's a blood sample, prostate-specific antigen. If it's 0 to 4, you're good. If it's over 4, between 4 to 6, we repeat. And if it's over 6, I'm going to send you to the urologist. Now, he or she may do the rectal, because they may, before doing biopsies, they may need to examine your prostate. But in terms of primary care provider, that is no longer a routine thing for men. So I just wanted to make that clear. Prostate cancer, it is a blood test, at least initially.
All right, just good information. Just to recap, because you said those are 3 cancers that no one should die from.
Nobody.
Due to pretty much getting preventive care. And our screenings, I guess you could say.
Screen, right, that's right.
So, in regard to breast cancer, you're saying that mammograms, and that should be done annually? Starting at what age?
Right, well, it was 40, but all of the cancer thing depends on the earliest relative. So sometimes it'll be up to 2 to 5 years before the earliest relative. So that goes for colon cancer and breast. But routinely, you're looking at 40 years old, usually. Like colonoscopy used to be 50, but in certain people, and African Americans and things, 45 in certain people. But if your mother or father had colon cancer at 38 and before.
All right, that's all I remember. I want to make sure we get this down packed.
Okay.
Breast cancer.
Right.
40 years old unless you had family history.
Or other risk factors.
Then it should begin at what age?
Usually about 5 years before the earliest relative.
Earliest relative that they passed away?
First degree relative, right, that had it, diagnosed with it.
Okay, so someone, if a female parent got breast cancer at 35, their child should get screenings at 30?
Yeah, then I would screen them, right. I would screen them earlier. Because that's abnormal to have the fact that the parent was screened and somehow got diagnosed at 35, then that means, then there's a strong family history.
Gotcha. And you're doing that annually, correct?
Right.
Okay.
Usually, yes.
All right, and this might sound like a dumb question, but hey, they say no question is a dumb question, but hey.
That's what they say.
That's what they say.
I don't know. We didn't ask some boys.
Can men get breast cancer?
Yes.
Men can get breast cancer.
Yeah, that's a good question. It's a lot more rare, but men can get breast cancer, yeah. But it's not to the point where they recommend, annual screening for it.
Yeah, I'm about to say, do I need to make that part of my routine?
No.
Hey, doctor, give me a mammogram.
Yeah, no, but what's interesting is heavy marijuana smoking is associated with gynecomastia, or man boobs. So like a lot of times the guys that smoke a lot of weed, whether they work out or not, you'll say, man, what is going on here? And so that's associated sometimes with it. And so they might think, oh my goodness, is there something going on? And so you end up having false positives and all that. So that's why some of the naysayers, like, I don't even want to call his name, but that particular person in office with the terrible raspy voice, where he's saying people should not take Tylenol and vaccines and all that. So he's one of those people who says you shouldn't also not get screened for things. And the danger with that is that then you end up being these people we're talking about that you end up dying, having blood in their stool, and by the time you finally get screened, but by the time they lose so much blood that they're needing blood transfusion, and somebody does a CAT scan of their belly, there's a big old huge cancer there, and you do biopsies and all that, and you find out it's stage 3 and stage 4, and you got 6 months to live. So
now is mammograms? That's what exactly is that? Is that using your hands to feel, or what?
Yeah, usually, like I say, it's usually women, but the patient will go in and they actually stand up against a plate, and then there's a process where a lot of women, I've never had one, but you have and there's a plate, and then it pushes against the breast itself. And some women say, especially when it's a diagnostic mammogram, that it is uncomfortable, because of the pressure. But a screening one is supposed to be a little faster and not as uncomfortable, but you're actually standing there and something is being pushed against the breast to be able to get the images, you know. So
Like X-ray almost.
Something like that.
Okay.
Something like the X-ray, yeah, but just a little bit more intimate.
Gotcha. And the prostate cancer screening on that, you said no more fingers in the rectum of men.
That's right. For screening. For screening.
The more modern way to test it is to, when you get your annual exam, your wellness visit, of course, it's called.
Right.
They do a PSA, you said? That's what it's called?
Right.
What does that stand for?
Prostate specific antigen.
Okay, and they test for that? Okay.
Right.
Got you. And that's done starting at what age for men?
Usually, you know, and that's another one. See, these ages sometimes arbitrary, 45 to 50, but like a lot of us who do have some history of prostate cancer in the family, honestly, it's really never too, you know, early. It's never like absurd. Some people are asking for it at 30 and 32, especially if there's a history. But, you know, we're looking at around 45, you know, 45 to 50 with men with no family history. Everybody perfectly healthy in your family, you know, that would be wonderful. And then you can wait until those ages. But because of the hormones in chicken and just different things and all kind of reasons why people are getting so many more cancers than they were in the 60s and 70s and, you know, times when our parents and grandparents grew up, you know, there's such a difference in the food. That's one of the big things. And so people are getting all these cancers earlier, you know, and that's why even if it's something like, by the time they find like a pancreatic cancer, a lot of people die from that because, you know, that's not something we screen for. But these three that we talked about, breast, colon, prostate, these are things that can be screened for. And if you do, unfortunately, have this, then can be most of the time, like 90% of the cases treated and even, you know, cured sometimes, you know. So, you know, it just really, I'm telling you, man, it burns me up because, nobody should die from those.
Yeah, I see you were passionate about it. And the last one, colon cancer. And you mentioned getting a colonoscopy every 10 years, starting at what age?
So, it, you know, used to be 50 years old, but now 45, especially in African Americans, because of certain risk factors that we have, or 5 years or so before the earliest relative. So just like in our family, unfortunately, we've had people with history of colon cancer. If you have a first-degree relative, which is your sibling, brother, sister, mother, or father, then, you know, if they had colon cancer at 40 years old, then, you know, 35, we need to be talking about it. And, you know, the thing is, I know you and I talked about there's other ways to do it. Now, you should still get a colonoscopy, but after that, every 3 years, you can do the other option, which is to literally, you know, some people don't want to do this because they might get a little bit grossed out, but you take the stool, you take a specimen of your stool and you follow the directions and put it in this box, and UPS or FedEx or whoever will pick it up. And that's every 3 years. So as long as everything is negative, then foreseeably you would not have to even have a colonoscopy again if everything continues to be negative. But you want to start out with a baseline colonoscopy. And colonoscopy is not, usually barring that there's no complications or anything, you should be in and out of there at the actual procedure, 15 minutes. And they give you a little sedation, so you're kind of dreaming a little bit, but you're still breathing on your own. There's no tube down your throat and all that, because you're not under general anesthesia. 15 minutes later, hey, you're out the door. Sometimes they may need to do some biopsies and things. But yeah, normally I really haven't even seen one in all the hundreds that I've seen that haven't gone over 20, 22 minutes.
Yeah, and I had a colonoscopy at a very young age. I think I was in my 30s when I had my first one. Can't remember the reason why my doctor recommended it. But you just mentioned I don't know if this is a standard name for it, for collecting your own stool sample, the Cologuard.
The Cologuard, yeah.
Cologuard, yeah. I do that every 3 years, and actually I just got done doing it last year. So
Excellent.
So yes, you do that every 3 years. So if I understand you correctly, because I had a colonoscopy in the past, then it's okay for me to do the Cologuard every. And again,
that's correct.
My doctor, primary doctor orders it. I get it in the mail, take my stool sample, follow the instructions, mail it back. Within a few days, they post my results online. If everything came back clear, nothing else to do but wait another 3 years. If it see anything abnormal, then I assume they would tell me to go in and get another colonoscopy, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
Great.
And Tim, I want to say, man, one thing about this, and this is always gets some laughs, and when I do this talk all over the place, man, look, I want to make sure that all the men, because we're focusing a little bit on men's health. There's two reasons why most men go to the doctor, Tim. I don't know if I might have said this last time. The number one reason is because whatever female is in their life, it could be their mother, sister, grandmother, daughter, niece, right? They force the man to go. The other reason is because they have a problem with their penis. And the thing is absolutely ridiculous. I know people on the audience, the studio laughing, but this is serious business because you've seen these folks, they're diabetic, they're on dialysis, and legs all removed, cut off and all this. And they say, well, doc, I can hobble over to some stuff, but if you cut off my third leg, now we got a problem here with the third leg, but they could literally be blind, crippled, crazy, missing limbs. But when men notice that there's a problem with penis and they talk about the honey packs aren't working no more and the blue pill ain't working, the red pill, then they want to come into the doctor, save me. But the problem has been, this is a vascular problem or an issue because your diabetes, your A1C is 12 and 13 and your blood sugar 4 and 500.
All right. So since you brought it up, daytime show, but
that's all we can do.
Mike talking like it's midnight, but hey, we good. All right, just keep the terms medically fit.
Yeah.
All right. So in saying that, what causes? I assume you're talking about erectile dysfunction. Right?
Absolutely.
Okay. What causes that? I know you talked about diabetes and A1C, all that pretty much goes with glucose and blood sugar and all that. Is that the common reason for erectile dysfunction?
It's very common, especially, where we are, because so many people have those comorbidities, uncontrolled hypertension, uncontrolled diabetes. There's other causes, like, somebody has some issue with the truly blood supply going to the penis, vascular conditions, some more rare stuff. But honestly, a lot of it, and people say, oh, well, your person is just getting older. Being 60 and above or 65 is not necessarily a reason. Now, some of your blood flow is a little bit different. You can optimize it by taking a baby aspirin a day, or people that have high cholesterol, being on a statin drug. Sometimes in certain patients with heart disease, that helps with all the blood flow, keeping things clean, like an oil change for a car. But one of the most common here, especially in the South, because of that diet and diabetes, then that's going to be the symptom that the men pay attention to.
So that is the most common reason, diabetes. I know you got other factors, but most common is going to be that blood sugar level
in the South,
and then the hypertension.
Hypertension and smoking, cigarettes specifically.
Okay. Is it the medication or the actual diagnosis? Which one is it? A combination of both.
So people who are on, like, say, beta blockers and some antidepressant SSRIs, those medications that can be somewhat of a side effect. So some of these guys may be on metoprolol and carvedilol, and so, that can contribute. But if it's people that don't go to the doctor, so they're not going to be on those because they don't even go to the doctor. So they'll be walking around with undiagnosed or uncontrolled diabetes. But the men, like I said, they don't come in, just like the guy at Merit Health Central who came in, his blood sugar was 1,715. And he came in because he finally went on and passed out. And unfortunately, he died a few hours later.
Let me ask you a question, and I've heard situations like that some men refuse to take their medication, whether it's for diabetes or for hypertension, due to the fact that medication has caused them to, they see a difference, and it causes erectile dysfunction. So what do you recommend for guys in that position, as an alternative? Because, of course, you don't want to tell them to stop taking their medication.
Absolutely.
Should you tell them to, let me let you answer. What would you recommend?
Well, those gentlemen, if it's a gentleman who, like I said, and this is going to be rare because somebody who's truly doing what they need to do, exercising, eating clean, taking their insulin or metformin or whatever they're on for diabetes, controlling blood pressure, and not smoking cigarettes. If it's that gentleman who is still having the problem with erectile dysfunction, then you're correct. Before taking him off a beta block, if his blood pressure is well controlled, then we'll look at other things that we can use. Maybe looking at some natural things, and I refer people to Eric Collins at The Herbal Blessing. He has natural medication and herbs just for that. And then the other thing we can do is, if they're maximized all their medical conditions, they're going to see an herbalist or a naturopathic person. The other thing we'll do is I would refer them to a urologist, which is the doctor who specializes in male conditions and male anatomy and stuff like that. So. And a urologist is actually a surgeon. So that would be my last resort after we've tried those other things.
Oh, great. Mm-hmm. Oh, man, we are running out of time. I think we got another show coming on next, right? Yeah. So we got to get off. So, man, it was great again. I know we ran kind of late today, but, man, this conversation, because I think a lot of this we just need to get out in our community. Me and you talk a lot about preventive health.
That's right.
And that's what I'm all about. So again, I look forward to bringing you on. We're going to bring you on again, and we're going to start. We're going to start on time.
We're going to be on time. Look, and I want to bring you back on Telehealth Tuesday. Come back on Telehealth Tuesday.
Sound great. All right. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to another episode of the TCL Show. Also want to thank my phone screeners and producer, Jessica Bond and Saskia Smith. Remember, your failure to plan should not be someone else's emergency. That's why our company slogan is, before you call anybody about your business, finances, money, or taxes, call us. We have 4 locations to gladly serve you: Byram, Canton, Highway 18, and Medgar Evers Boulevard. Again, I thank you for listening. I'm your host, Tim C. Lee. Tune in again next Monday, same place, same time, from 6 to 7 p.m. And I'm going to end my show like I do every single Monday: live debt-free and not like the Joneses. The Joneses are eating good, dressing good, looking good, writing good, and even sometimes smelling good. But the truth is, the Joneses are broke.
The Joneses are broke. All right, we're gonna sign off from live. That's TCL over there, Tim Lee. We're gonna get out of here. There's another show coming on, but I appreciate you having me on, brother.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, absolutely.
We gotta do it again soon.
Let's do it. We'll be on time. We're gonna be early, and then
early.
And he's coming on Telehealth Tuesday. Howard Sanders, shout out. My mom's watching. Little James, Shelley, Shell, Marsha. We got some other folks. Thank y'all so much. And eat me raw. I don't even know I don't know who that is, but okay. Chantel Taylor, I was scrolling back. All right, thank y'all so much, and everyone who's tuned in. Remember, true wealth begins with good health.